Hi class, this is a video on how I created my version of the midterm. I wanted to just give you some tips. The uh, the software aspect of this class could be daunting, and I understand that some students struggle with it. So I try to make as many videos as I can, and just give you some tips, give you some ideas. So let me back this up. Of course, when I think about typography, it's like type by itself is like a tree. It just got cut down, and it's time to start to cut it up and make it useful. So this is sort of that unrefined look that we start off with right here, and then we turn it into something. You'll notice that just talking about my decisions here with this example that I created, one of the rules is one of the 19 rules is don't go all caps, and it's ridiculous. Everybody goes all caps on titles. It's very common. See how stackable it is? It just looks nice. So I immediately bend and break that rule. It's one of the rules I wish I could remove, but it's there. Of course, you don't want to do copy in all caps, but titles, I'm not against all caps, and I won't jump down your throat if you end up going all caps. Feel free to call me a hypocrite, but look on the web. You see it all the time. So as you can see here, I have like a three-part hierarchy: 1, 2, 3. I went out and farmed up one of my favorite web fonts, which is Bebis or Bebis, depending on who pronounces it. I did a complimentary example right here. By complimentary, I mean that I used the same family for the transition slides, which is Bebis. Bold members, thin members, regular members. As you can see over here, if I go just look at the properties here. Actually, what is going on here? Yeah, there we go. If I just select this, you'll see I've got bold, thin, light, book, regular. And you're welcome to use this font. I think there's so many things out there, but picking a font that has a lot of members in the family is such a key. It's such an important thing. But what I want you to see is one of the things I do is I press W a lot so I can kind of see what everything looks like, how things are progressing without all that junk being in the way. Another point that I want to bring up is that I turn on special characters when I'm working too. Type to where it says hide hidden characters. Well, I have to turn this on, but that's where I can show characters. Look how this is built. This is the word typography, then what's called a soft return by pressing Shift Enter. Typography, and then fundamentals and a soft return, and then midterm. There's 3 lines in this paragraph. This symbol represents a paragraph. And I use tabs here. I don't expect students to use tabs. You can use spaces. This is something you'll learn in the digital page layout class, how to work with tabs. And of course, this guy's right aligned. I've got this G here, which I'm guessing a lot of you guys are wondering, like, how did you get that thing? And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. So check this out. So if I were doing this, I could select the whole thing. And I guess from the very beginning, I could just choose Bebis regular. Now back up a little bit. And of course, this is supposed to be nice and big. And you notice I can switch right over to bold really fast. Pick some giant number here. And like I said, I can press Shift Enter. By the way, looks like I didn't show hidden characters in here. I'm pressing Shift Enter. It's like that way too much space between everything. I'm also noticing a little mistake right there. You see that guy right there? This is one of those tricks. Those tricky things. I need to select that whole area and just make this 72. That will mess me up later. What did I type? Okay, there we go. Now I want to tighten these up. I'll select all of them. I'll press Alt in the up arrow, which is the same thing as just adjusting the leading here. This the line spacing. This is something you should know how to do. You don't want to jam these together. You want to leave yourself a nice amount of space right there. And then you've got this section, which since that was 72, I'll make this something else, maybe like 48. Just want to make sure that this is definitely bigger than that. That it's clearly, this is the second most important thing. In fact, I'll go with 36. And then for this part here, remember to insert your name. And that's an important point. You don't want to mess up. All right, so how do we start dividing this stuff up? Oh, by the way, I'm going to back up and use soft returns here. Just makes it easier to work with. Look at that. Same problem right there. See that little paragraph symbol? I don't want that messing me up, so let me highlight that and make this 36. It's weird how paragraphs are touchier here than they should be. Photoshop, Illustrator, I don't have these issues. Actually, you might be curious to see what the issue would be. Let me back up and show you what happened there. All right, so check this out. I just want you to see. If I go to change the space, the spacing between here and here can get messed up. If these aren't all the same size. In fact, I'm not going to bother demonstrating this. It's one of those things that sometimes matters and sometimes it don't. It doesn't, I should say. But check this out. Underneath midterm, I'm going to use paragraph spacing. Resist the temptation to do that. You know, if you're doing that stuff, don't do that. Just use paragraph spacing. This is a paragraph all by itself. You know, it's like one box. And I can just add some paragraph spacing here. So I'll go over here to paragraph. And by the way, you could also go up here. You know, there's a lot of different places to find it, but you basically just find paragraph spacing, right? Wait, that's an indent. Shouldn't be touching that. And add some space after this. So let's say I want to go 10. Fine. And maybe I'll put 10 after this. Right here. So let's do 10 after. All right. Now, because of the fact that the leading is so much less right here, you're actually seeing this space and this space are not the same. So I'm going to guesstimate and actually make that space a little bit more. Sometimes I use spacers for stuff like this. You might be like, Eugene, what's a spacer? You know, you're confusing us. I'll show you. Spacer is not complicated. You just draw a box. If you really want to make sure things look right, I'm going to switch this so that the box is black. There we go. And I'm going to hold down the Alt key here, or you can press, you know, copy and paste, but whatever, but I'm going to go like that. And you can see these spaces are about the same. Makes the whole thing look a little bit more uniform. I did forget to upsize the author name here too a little bit. All these are titles. None of this is copy, just so you know. That's why I can make it all caps and treat it differently. Copy is, you know, the five or more sentences within a paragraph. So this is not copy necessarily. All right, so I'll take that up to 24 points, and now that's going to mess up my spacing, but my paragraph spacing, so I'll have to tighten that up. Now this space is bigger than that space. Again, this is some of the, you're seeing how particular you have to be to do work like this. All right, and I guess in my example there, I aligned it to the right. There you go. You're starting to see how these are similar. The point sizes are different, but you're getting the idea. And then for the color that I chose, I actually just went with the cyan right there, which I know doesn't stand out that well, which is which is alright with me because it's the only color on the page. It made it more interesting. Alright, and how did I get that character in there? Yeah, that would be a great question I suppose some of you would have. Let me tighten this area up. So here's what I did. I created a little text box and I typed out a G. And I cranked the point size of that G up just like that. These think G's are pretty. Then I went up to type and create outlines, and it takes that typeface, takes that guy and converts it into a little shape. I just blew him up just like that. That's what I did with all my examples. And then instead of having jet black, I took the tint down to something like 10% or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Press W and see what that's looking like. This is similar to what I did. It looks like I made this a lot bigger. I'm not trying to make this video super complicated, so I'm not going to go nuts here. Right click it. I'm going to go to arrange and send this to the back. Yeah, you could also go to the layers panel if you're glutton for punishment. I'm not going to do that. And obviously I kept making some changes, but that's how I created my transition slides. For the slides that were darker, I just put a box back behind everything like that. Arranged it like you see here, and instead of making the tint on the G light like that, I took it up to, I made it like 85%, something like that. In this case, I could select everything and make it all white, and then take midterm here and choose that cyan. I'm just showing you some of the process that I went through to make my slides. You might go through a different process. You also might be like, thank you, because of the fact that you're not super comfortable with the software yet, and you're welcome to use the exact same methods that I did. Well, I hope you found that helpful. I thought I would just give you some tips on how I created what I created. Have a good one.